Monday morning and I was sitting in my garage after putting down my papers in one of the BPOs. And it was a day where I had nothing in my hand. I thought that life would either end here or I have something where I can go and make a dent. So I decided not to stop but to make a dent in the universe one fine day. That's where my story starts, and to let you all know, my name is Shivangi Narula, and I am an intentional corporate trainer, corporate performance coach, and an intentional, very, very intentional advocate of customer service and experience. And a very coincidental content creator. I never thought of becoming one, but somehow life wanted me to be one, so I started content creation as well. Going back to why we have gathered today here is to talk about sustainability. So I would want to talk and pick up my very favorite industry, customer service, where I come from. You know, it's a place where you'd see thousands of people in one cubicle and they would all perform same job. An industry that even has a lot of resources being not very optimistically used, starting from the manpower to that of all the energies. And I used to sit and wonder, how would I be able to probably bring some kind of transformation? I'm not the one who has got a transformation in the industry, but I think I have seen from the pre-pandemic world to today how call centers or customer interactions, or let's say customer service, or per se customer experience has evolved. So when I was working in the BPO, I got to see that there was an underutilization of all the resources. There were over-resources being placed with just an intent to serve customers. So Carl very nicely say that customer would always remember what you have done for them. And the kind of experience that you give them will make them feel more memorable about you and your services. So this takes me back to one of the very interesting lessons that I got from my mentor on probably day 5th of my job. He said that, Shivangi, you're not here to work just for the company. You are here to ensure that the customer to whom you are speaking should only remember Shivangi, and you have to be the brand ambassador for my company. And I think that was one of the learnings that I took, and I thought that you need to do something around customer service. So ever since I got into the training space, training the customer agents, being a customer agent itself, I realized that the industry has been evolving since the day I have joined, and it has been doing ever before that as well. But going back to the sustainable developments, I think this is the time when you would see humans getting replaced from this entire industry. Most of the calls nowadays are even taken by chatbots. AI has integrated its own beauty in this industry, and you would see how data and insights are being produced out of the conversations that the chatbots are doing. But that doesn't really mean that our job is over. When we got to see that chatbots are there, in fact, off lately we were going through some of the products and we got to see that even the sales calls nowadays have been, they have been started taking by the chatbots. The question is not to feel that our job is over. As somebody rightly said, that humans would not go off plate. Now it's time for us to think differently and innovate things so that the AI that we as humans are producing makes better sense, and it helps us evolve better as a professional, as a human, or maybe the end user of the product per se. And that's where my industry stepped in. That's where the need for me to step in was to train these agents. We have some great people, but there are some who still struggle, but they still work in BPOs with a hope to learn and maybe upgrade their own skill set, maybe have a career trajectory, maybe pace it up from BPOs, because that's the only place where I think 5 years from now, if you go back and see, everybody had at least one experience in their resume into the BPO space or KPO space. All my companies where I work, they have got hundreds of different kinds of processes and things and chatbots. We have IVRs. They are actually optimizing the way the workflow is moving. Even before an agent comes onto the call, there's already a filtration done whether this call needs to be given to an agent or this is something that has simply been sorted and solved by a robot, or let's say by an AI, or maybe by anything that's there. So that's where I think who created this, who created all of this AI is we humans. Now, when you fit in that data, if let's say I am an agent and I have to talk to somebody, I'm like, hi, my name is Shivangi, I'm calling you from XYZ company, how can I help you today? Now, this particular script can be evolved into hundreds of permutations and combinations. Who would do that? We humans. So the role of human would never get out of the picture. Maybe technology comes or goes, I think humans are here to stay. What defines us as humans, or what probably makes us different from the rest of the crowd in the industry, or let's say any person in this world would have one single thing that can make him or break him. I think the art of empathizing makes you stand out of the crowd. The more you empathize with someone, let's say the more you empathize with a particular problem statement, the better you would be able to produce a solution for that. So the first thing that we have to understand with the ever-changing world where you'd see technology coming in, we have points like sustainability needs to be there, because if today we use all the assets, if we use all the energies to get one BPO operated, this is something not primarily going to impact me as an individual or an industry owner, but this is going to impact the entire nature and world. The question is, we know we need to empathize because we are humans. In order to have those facts and figures and maybe a process which becomes more sustainable in an industry, as I told you, we need to empathize. The question is, how do we empathize? So let's take an example here. We all must have gone through a stage or affair where we might have encountered a breakup, right? You go to your friend and he tries to listen to you very patiently. When he listens to you, he's like, koi nahi yaar, sab theek ho jayega. Oh, chill kar, you'll get somebody even better than this, right? You have your friends giving you that bit of motivation by understanding, because they might have been, they might have undergone that same situation. Now, there's a thin line between sympathy and empathy. I feel sorry for you. I am sure now you'd not be able to survive without her. Now, this is where you are sympathizing. You're being kind enough and you're telling him, all right, I know something bad has happened with you and I feel sorry for it. You don't have to feel sorry. In the world where we all are humans, I think we need to empathize. You need to feel the pain. Now, the question is that I haven't undergone a breakup, Shivangi. How would I feel that pain? Now, that's where the customer service industry comes in. Your customer would not have encountered, your agent would not have encountered what you are undergoing. How would he feel that pain? Words have the power to break or make any relation, any process, any strategy across our personal and professional world. So the kind of verbiage that we use possibly changes a lot in the understanding of the other party. Now, with that being said, I would also want to reiterate a very powerful concept. As I come from skills industry, I come from learning and development space, I love to relate things with humans because I think we are the makers, creators, and destroyers for anything. Let's talk about an AI thing coming in. Let's talk about a robot coming in place. Let's talk about the best SaaS in the market. It's us who are making. Just one of us out of this batch would be creating a wonderful product one fine day. Maybe all of us would be working in companies that would talk about different things but would have different practices in place. But whenever you think about doing something great, or whenever you think about bringing an innovation in whatever you do, I'm not saying building a company would make you the best, or maybe getting a 1 CR job would make you the best, or maybe making the best process would make you the greatest of all. No. Success is very beautiful when manifested, but when it is achieved, there's no scope, there's no place where you would say that, oh, I have achieved it. The day you achieve one thing, the next day you would have something else to achieve. So it's always said that manifest things in such a way that it keeps you moving, it puts you in progress, and it never stops. So I would like to take you to a very powerful NLP strategy or NLP technique called leading and pacing. A technique that gives birth to not just innovation as a concept, but also sustainability for you to be in any conversation, be it any relationship, be it any system, any process, or any businesses. It says that whenever you want to understand other party, or whenever you want to do something, or whenever you want to say something, you first have to have that very, very intrigued sense of observation. And when you observe someone, let's take an example of a problem statement. We got to see an X problem in the fashion industry. We saw there's a lot of wastage happening. It's hampering the environment out there. You need to spend some time observing things. Now, when I say observing, this could also be, you could also relate it to listening to somebody. This could also relate to paying attention to the non-verbal cues, understanding the context, where are things coming from, how is it related, doing the entire piece of, analyzation of that particular situation. You have to analyze it to an extent where when you talk or when you do something that aligns with what the other person was trying to reciprocate. So the technique simply says that you need to be very observant. You need to be very observant towards the problem statement. You need to be very observant towards what the other party is saying. You would have come across people, in generally sales meeting I see, a lot of people have different verbiage. Some people would understand a simple sentence which says, hey, where are the numbers? And the other party would have a synonymical form of the same sentence saying, where is the data? There's no harm in changing your way of doing the way they want. Now, going back to leading and pacing as a concept, it just simply says that you need to allow somebody to lead something for a while. This could be by just speaking, this could be by observing while they are doing something, and then you pace it according to how and what and when they would be able to understand. It's about being more about being people. We have talked enough about sustainability in terms of environment, in terms of the climate and different industries. I would want to advocate the concept of sustainable mindset, which needs to be there in each one of us. Because if we don't think sustainable, we wouldn't be able to do anything on those lines. And the concept simply relates to empathizing. You need to empathize. If today my call center has got hundreds of employees, but my sitting capacity is of 200, I've got 10 ACs in place, all of them are working, I am literally wasting some amount of energy that is not even needed. Going back to the call center days, there were small call centers before big companies like Concentrix and Accenture. All these companies came and got a lot of contracts from different companies. Before they came, they became the outsourced calling partners or KPOs for big giants. There were small setups, and even till now, till date, there are a lot of small BPOs in the market. You would see a lot of people opening their BPOs with 10 people, 20 people. There were times when have you ever wondered when you call somebody, let's say I made a call to Zomato, where is that call going? That call has got a sweet space in this world. Where would that go? There are just two options to it. One, either I keep the recording on my disk, right, on my hard drive, I put it with myself, or there is the second option, which is like I put everything on cloud. Isn't inclusivity of public cloud softwares in such industries has given a reason for us to think sustainable? I ask this very simple question to people. Why do we talk? Why am I talking to you? Why does this beautiful ability of talking and communicating lies only with humans? It's because we want to share our feelings, we want to exchange our messages, and going by those bookish definitions of why we talk, why we communicate, there are 100 reasons to talk. We are talking because there's a movement happening. There's an action that's happening that makes us all talk. When you write an email, you simply say, I'm writing this to inform, I'm writing this to negotiate, I'm writing this to confess, I'm writing this to fight. There's a purpose. And that purpose is because there's movement. Innovation is not about being super different. It's about being simple. It's about accepting that movement can be synonymous to innovation. The more you move, the more you are into the progress, the phase of progress, you'd keep on innovating. The more you empathize, the more you reflect, the more you introspect, I think that's where introspection, that introspection gives you a case to be more innovative and think sustainably. So all of that, with my last few words that I am left with, I would like to say that sustainability is a matter of thinking before doing and believing. Thank you.